from wars and reforms to scandals and social change. And with cutting-edge technology, we'll reveal how the earliest prime ministers, long before cameras existed, are likely to have looked. At the dawn of the 18th century, Britain stood at a turning point. Politics was dominated by two rival factions: the Whigs, who favoured Parliament and progress, and the Tories, who stood for the crown and tradition. Out of their struggle emerged a new kind of leadership, the office of the Prime Minister. And it all began in 1721 with Sir Robert Walpole, the man who defined what that title would mean for centuries to come. Robert Walpole, often regarded as Britain's first true Prime Minister, Walpole maintained peace and prosperity after years of European conflict. A master of political persuasion, he used patronage and charm to keep Parliament on his side, though critics accused him of corruption. He was the first to live at 10 Downing Street, setting the tradition for future leaders. Spencer Compton, Earl of Wilmington. Wilmington's brief tenure followed Walpole's resignation, but he was a figurehead with little real power, as decisions were driven by others in his cabinet. Frail and unwell for much of his time in office, it was joked that Britain was being run by his doctors rather than by him. Henry Pelham. Pelham brought a period of stability and reform, reducing national debt and avoiding unnecessary wars. A moderate and efficient administrator, he worked harmoniously with his brother, the Duke of Newcastle. His Consolidation Act simplified the criminal law, showing his preference for practical improvements over grandstanding. Thomas Pelham Hollis, Duke of Newcastle. The Duke of Newcastle was a tireless but anxious politician who preferred working behind the scenes to being in the spotlight. His first government faltered during the early years of the 7 Years' War, but when he returned with William Pitt the Elder, Britain's fortunes quickly improved. Known for his energy and nerves in equal measure, he could run the country, he just couldn't relax while doing it. William Cavendish, Duke of Devonshire. Devonshire served as a caretaker Prime Minister after the fall of the Duke of Newcastle, stepping in to steady the government during a turbulent time. Respected for his honesty and moderation, he accepted the role reluctantly and avoided the spotlight. His quiet, steady leadership kept things calm, though he never made a major policy speech during his brief time in office. John Stuart, 3rd Earl of Bute. John Stuart was the first Scottish Prime Minister after the 1707 Union and was a close friend and mentor to King George III. He helped negotiate the Treaty of Paris of 1763, which formally ended the 7 Years' War, but his lack of popularity forced him to resign within a year, partly because of his Scottish background and partly because of his reliance on royal favour. George Grenville. A meticulous and financially minded Prime Minister, Grenville is best remembered and often blamed for introducing the Stamp Act, which angered the American colonies and sowed the seeds of revolution. Known for his painstaking attention to detail, he personally read through every document, a habit that earned both admiration and frustration from his peers. Charles Watson Wentworth, Marquess of Rockingham. Rockingham, a principled and reformist Whig, is remembered for repealing the hated Stamp Act, easing tensions with America. He championed civil liberties and opposed slavery, reflecting his belief in moral governance. Though not a natural showman, his integrity and compassion earned him quiet respect, but later died in office during his second term. Augustus Henry Fitzroy, 3rd Duke of Grafton. Grafton became Prime Minister at just 33 years old, one of Britain's youngest leaders. His time in office was marked by political divisions and growing unrest in the American colonies. Seen as capable but indecisive, he struggled to hold his government together. Under constant criticism at home and abroad, he resigned after less than 2 years in power. Lord Frederick North. Lord North was known for his good humour and intelligence, but his time in office was dominated by the American War of Independence. He tried to balance firm policy with compromise, yet the colony's rebellion proved impossible to contain. Despite losing America, he stayed loyal to King George III and was admired for his calmness under pressure. William Cavendish Bentinck, Duke of Portland. Portland first led a short-lived coalition between the Whigs and Tories that collapsed within months. More than 20 years later, he returned as an aging statesman during the Napoleonic Wars. His second ministry was weakened by infighting and ill health, and he resigned soon before his death. Across both terms, Portland was seen as a steady but reluctant figure at the centre of turbulent politics. William Pitt the Younger. Taking office at just 24, Pitt remains Britain's youngest ever Prime Minister. Brilliant with finance and reform, he stabilised the nation and guided it through revolution and war in Europe. After resigning over Irish Catholic rights, he returned to lead again against Napoleon. His early death at 46 ended one of the most remarkable political careers in British history. William Grenville. Lord Grenville led the Ministry of All the Talents, a rare coalition that united major political figures after years of division. His government achieved the historic abolition of the Slave Trade Act in 1807, marking a moral turning point in British history. Despite that triumph, disagreements over religious reform soon brought his coalition down. Spencer Perceval. Perceval guided Britain through wartime hardship with discipline and faith, maintaining stability during economic strain and public unrest. His time in office was tragically cut short when he was assassinated in the House of Commons, the only British Prime Minister ever killed in office. Robert Banks Jenkinson, Earl of Liverpool. Liverpool took charge after the shock of Perceval's assassination and led Britain through 15 years of immense change. He oversaw the final defeat of Napoleon and managed the difficult peace that followed, holding the country together through unrest and economic hardship. Though cautious by nature, he laid the groundwork for a modern industrial Britain and proved that quiet, consistent leadership could last longer and matter more than charisma alone. George Canning. Canning's premiership was brief but full of energy. A gifted orator and progressive Tory, he sought to modernise government and extend civil rights while keeping Britain out of European wars. His bold ideas divided his party, yet his popularity with the public marked the rise of a new, more liberal kind of conservatism. He died suddenly, just 4 months into office. Frederick Robinson, Viscount Goderich. Robinson inherited Canning's uneasy coalition and quickly found it impossible to hold together. Kind and well-meaning, but indecisive, he struggled with political infighting and resigned after just 144 days, one of Britain's shortest premierships. Arthur Wellesley, Duke of Wellington. Britain's Iron Duke, hero of Waterloo, brought a soldier's discipline to government. Though initially conservative and resistant to reform, he oversaw the historic Catholic Emancipation Act of 1829, opening politics to a broader public. His stern manner made him unpopular in turbulent times, and his London home was once pelted with stones during riots. Yet his integrity and sense of duty remained unquestioned. Charles Grey, 2nd Earl Grey. Earl Grey led one of Britain's most transformative governments, passing the Great Reform Act of 1832, which expanded voting rights and modernised Parliament. He also oversaw the Slavery Abolition Act of 1833, building on Grenville's earlier ban on the slave trade, to end slavery itself across the British Empire. Calm, principled, and persuasive, Grey believed in progress without chaos, though today he's almost as famous for a certain cup of tea as for reforming the nation. William Lamb, Viscount Melbourne. Melbourne was a charming, moderate reformer who valued stability over revolution. As Queen Victoria's first Prime Minister, he became both her mentor and close confidant, guiding her through her early reign. Though his governments achieved few major reforms, his patience and tact helped shape the tone of the new Victorian monarchy. Robert Peel. Peel first became Prime Minister in 1834, leading a short, transitional government that began reshaping the old Tory party. When he returned to power in 1841, he turned that vision into reality, creating the modern Conservative Party. His pragmatic reforms brought the Mines Act and Factory Act, improving working conditions, and the repeal of the Corn Laws, which lowered food prices but tore his party apart. Peel's fall marked the end of one era and the beginning of another, a reformer undone by his own progress. Lord John Russell. Russell was the quiet architect of British reform, principled, persistent, and occasionally exasperating. He carried forward Grey's democratic legacy, extending education and pushing new reform bills, though many stalled in Parliament. Twice Prime Minister, he was more thinker than showman, but his ideas shaped the path toward modern liberalism. Even his critics admitted, what he lacked in flair, he made up for in conviction. George Hamilton Gordon, 4th Earl of Aberdeen. Aberdeen led a cautious coalition government, but was overwhelmed by the Crimean War, whose poor management led to scandal and loss of life. A thoughtful and conciliatory statesman, he valued diplomacy over aggression, but his calm temperament was no match for the chaos of war, and he resigned under heavy criticism. Henry John Temple, Viscount Palmerston. Palmerston was the face of confident Victorian Britain, assertive abroad, pragmatic at home. He steered the country through the Crimean War, pushed for improvements to public health and urban sanitation, and backed liberal causes across Europe. Charismatic and combative, he managed to stay popular in an age of cynicism, earning the nickname Pam, the People's Prime Minister. To some, he made Britain strong. To others, he made her reckless. But no one could ignore him. Edward Smith Stanley, Earl of Derby. Derby led Britain 3 times, each stint short, but together they marked the uneasy transition between old Toryism and a more democratic age. His government passed the Second Reform Act of 1867, extending the vote to many urban working men and redefining the political landscape. Witty, cautious, and aristocratic, Derby preferred compromise to confrontation, guiding his party through turbulent times. Benjamin Disraeli. The first and only Jewish Prime Minister in British history, Disraeli was a novelist, visionary, and master of words who made politics look like art. As leader, he championed social reform, strengthened the British Empire, and governed with unmatched flair. His fierce rivalry with Gladstone defined an era. At 70, he joked that power had come to him too late. But he left behind one of the most colourful legacies in British politics. William Ewart Gladstone. Gladstone served as Prime Minister for 4 separate periods, more than anyone in British history. He was the moral heart of Victorian politics, a reformer driven by conscience, faith, and an unshakable sense of duty. Across his long career, he expanded education, modernised the civil service, and fought for Irish Home Rule. Tireless and intense, he believed politics should uplift the soul as well as the state. His rivalry with Disraeli defined an age, idealism versus imagination, leaving Britain forever shaped by their clash. Archibald Philip Primrose, 5th Earl of Rosebery, Rosebery once said his three ambitions were to marry an heiress, own a horse that won the Derby, and become Prime Minister. And he achieved them all. A scholar, aristocrat, and reluctant politician, he inherited a divided Liberal Party after Gladstone's retirement and struggled to unite it. Passionate about education and the empire, he dreamed of a modern, outward-looking Britain, but his government lasted barely a year. Robert Gascoigne Cecil, 3rd Marquess of Salisbury. Salisbury was the last Prime Minister to govern from the House of Lords, a reserved aristocrat who preferred quiet calculation to public applause. Over 3 terms, he guided Britain through the zenith of its empire, balancing power politics in Europe with expansion abroad. He believed in caution, not crusades, and his diplomacy kept peace where others might have risked war. The final grand figure of the Victorian age. Arthur James Balfour. Balfour was a cool, cerebral leader, more philosopher than politician. As Salisbury's nephew and successor, he faced unrest at home and uncertainty abroad, passing the Education Act of 1902, but struggling to inspire unity. His premiership was brief, yet his name endures through the Balfour Declaration of 1917, which supported a Jewish homeland in Palestine. Henry Campbell Bannerman. Warm, witty, and quietly radical, Campbell Bannerman led Britain into the new century with a gentle touch and a reformer's heart. He championed peace abroad and progress at home, introducing the Probation Act of 1907, which replaced prison with rehabilitation for minor offenders, a landmark in humane justice. Though his time in office was short, his kindness and conviction left a lasting mark on modern liberalism. Herbert Henry Asquith. Asquith was the steady hand of early 20th century liberalism, thoughtful, articulate, and unflappable. His government introduced landmark reforms like old age pensions and national insurance, laying the groundwork for the modern welfare state. But his calm leadership was tested by the First World War, where patience turned to paralysis. Forced aside in 1916, Asquith left behind both progress and tragedy, a reformer overtaken by history. David Lloyd George. The first Welshman to become Prime Minister, Lloyd George was the fiery reformer who led Britain to victory in the First World War and through the uneasy peace that followed. The son of a cobbler, he rose from humble beginnings to transform British politics, championing social reform, women's suffrage, and homes for returning soldiers. Brilliant, bold, and divisive, he led with passion and cunning. To some, he was the man who won the war. To others, the man who lost the peace. Andrew Bonar Law. Bonar Law was a reluctant Prime Minister, a quiet figure who stepped into power when few others wanted it. Born in Canada and raised in Scotland, he led Britain for barely a year before illness forced him to resign. With no great reforms or victories to his name, his time in office faded quickly from public memory. He was steady, serious, and short-lived, the man who held the fort between giants. Stanley Baldwin. Baldwin was the quiet, steady hand of interwar Britain, serving under 3 monarchs, George V, Edward VIII, and George VI. 3 times Prime Minister, he believed calm leadership was strength, not weakness, guiding the nation through industrial unrest, economic change, and the birth of mass democracy. He spoke directly to the people through the new medium of radio, his warmth and patience earning rare public trust. And when the abdication crisis came, Baldwin met it with quiet dignity, proving that restraint can be the truest form of authority. James Ramsay MacDonald. Ramsay MacDonald was Britain's first Labour Prime Minister, a self-educated Scotsman who rose from humble beginnings to power. His first government was brief, but his second faced the full weight of the Great Depression. Trying to save the economy, he formed a national government with his Conservative rivals. a move his own party saw as betrayal. Once the symbol of working-class hope, MacDonald ended as a lonely figure, respected by some, distrusted by many, the idealist undone by compromise. Neville Chamberlain. Chamberlain came to power determined to preserve peace in a world drifting toward war. Calm, precise and deeply principled, he's remembered above all for the Munich Agreement of 1938, when he returned from Germany declaring, "Peace for our time." At home, he improved housing and welfare, but his faith in diplomacy could not stop the inevitable. When war finally came, his quiet confidence gave way to doubt. A man defined not by failure, but by the hope that history would prove him wrong. Winston Churchill. Churchill became Prime Minister as Britain stood alone against Nazi Germany, a bulldog spirit in human form. His speeches, "We shall fight on the beaches," and "Their finest hour," turned language into a weapon of war, inspiring a nation through its darkest days. Yet his story was never simple. Defeat followed victory, and some of his decisions, from Gallipoli to empire, left bitter debate behind. Returning to office in the 1950s, older but unbowed, he remained brilliant, stubborn, and utterly driven. The man who gave Britain both its voice and its doubts. Clement Attlee. Attlee was the quiet revolutionary who rebuilt Britain after the war. Reserved and unassuming, he led one of the most radical governments in history, founding the National Health Service, expanding welfare, and nationalizing key industries. A man of few words but deep conviction, Attlee turned wartime unity into lasting reform. Churchill won the speeches. Attlee changed the country. Anthony Eden. Eden had waited half a lifetime to succeed Churchill, a polished diplomat ready to lead a modern Britain. But his premiership was undone by the Suez Crisis of 1956, when a secret invasion of Egypt turned triumph into humiliation. Once seen as the natural heir to Churchill's greatness, Eden's health and credibility never recovered. Elegant and tragic, his story marks the moment Britain's power abroad began to fade, and its illusions with it. Harold Macmillan. Macmillan came to power promising calm after the chaos of Suez. Suave, witty, and reassuring, he told a booming nation, "You've never had it so good." Under his leadership, living standards rose, new homes were built, and Britain felt prosperous again. But beneath the surface, the empire was shrinking, and the Profumo scandal exposed cracks in the establishment. Macmillan's charm steadied Britain in changing times, a gentleman premier for an age about to lose its innocence. Alec Douglas Home. Douglas Home was the last of Britain's aristocratic prime ministers, courteous, modest, and quietly old-fashioned. Chosen to steady the ship after Macmillan's resignation, he famously gave up his title to serve in the Commons, bridging nobility and democracy. But his calm style couldn't compete with Harold Wilson's modern, media-savvy Labour Party, and he lost the election just a year later. Harold Wilson. Wilson was the face of a new, modern Britain. Clever, confident, and endlessly strategic. His governments expanded opportunity through sweeping social reforms in education, housing, health, pensions, gender equality, and support for the disabled and child poverty. A master communicator, he balanced idealism with pragmatism, guiding Britain through rapid change with his trademark pipe and wry Yorkshire wit. Not even being hit in the eye by a schoolboy's stink bomb could shake his composure. Proof that for Wilson, politics was always best handled coolly and cleverly. Edward Heath. Heath was the pragmatic modernizer who took Britain into Europe. A classically trained musician turned politician, He believed in efficiency, order, and the promise of progress. His government achieved one of Britain's great diplomatic shifts, joining the European Economic Community. But at home, inflation, strikes, and blackouts dimmed his success. Uncharismatic but resolute, Heath governed with the discipline of a conductor and the loneliness of a man slightly out of tune with his times. James Callaghan led Britain through a storm of economic crisis and industrial unrest. The only man to serve as Chancellor, Foreign Secretary, Home Secretary, and Prime Minister, he brought experience and calm authority to the job. But soaring inflation and the winter of discontent left his government paralysed. Still, Sunny Jim, as he was known, met turmoil with patience and plain-speaking honesty. Margaret Thatcher. Thatcher came to power promising strength and renewal, and she delivered both at a price. Britain's first female Prime Minister and the longest-serving of the 20th century, she broke the power of trade unions, privatised state industries, and championed free markets with unflinching belief. Her resolve during the Falklands War and the Cold War earned her the title, the Iron Lady. Yet, her tough policies divided the country, leaving whole communities transformed and others behind. Loved or loathed, she changed Britain more profoundly than any leader of her age. John Major. Major followed the Iron Lady with a softer touch, polite, steady, and determined to heal a divided nation. He steered Britain through recession, signed the Maastricht Treaty that bound the UK closer to Europe, and helped lay the groundwork for peace in Northern Ireland. Yet scandals and internal party battles often overshadowed his achievements. Tony Blair. Blair swept to power on a wave of optimism, promising a new kind of politics for a new generation. Charismatic and media savvy, he rebranded Labour as New Labour, blending social justice with economic pragmatism. His government delivered peace in Northern Ireland, investment in schools and hospitals, and a confident, modern Britain. But his decision to join the Iraq War would come to define him, dividing the public. Blair's decade in power was one of hope, reform, and controversy. Gordon Brown. Brown came to power as a serious, principled leader. He steered Britain through the global financial crisis, rescuing the banks and averting collapse. His government oversaw devolution in Northern Ireland, the withdrawal of troops from Iraq, and passed the world's first climate change act. But his premiership was dogged by economic hardship, political scandals, and a public weary after years of Labour rule. A leader respected for his mind, but rarely loved for his manner. David Cameron. Cameron entered Downing Street as the fresh face of a new conservatism, modern, moderate, and media savvy. He steered Britain through austerity and coalition, legalised same-sex marriage, and championed a vision of social unity under the slogan, Big Society. But his decision to call the EU referendum would define him. When Britain voted to leave, he resigned the next morning, a calm reformer undone by the storm he set in motion. Theresa May. May became Britain's second female Prime Minister, inheriting a nation divided by Brexit. Cautious, diligent, and deeply private, she promised to make the country work for everyone and to deliver the will of the people with quiet determination. But Brexit proved unforgiving, deal after deal rejected, her authority eroding with each defeat. Respected for her resilience, but isolated in the end, May's premiership was defined by duty and deadlock, a leader trapped by the storm she never created. Boris Johnson. Johnson swept into Downing Street with a promise to get Brexit done and a flair for spectacle few could match. His bluster and optimism won a landslide victory, and he steered Britain through both Brexit's completion and the chaos of the COVID-19 pandemic. But scandal and controversy soon caught up with him. lockdown parties, resignations, and rebellion eroding his authority. Larger than life yet undone by his own excess, Johnson's premiership was a whirlwind of triumph and turmoil, as unpredictable as the man himself. Liz Truss. Truss promised to cut taxes, boost growth, and shake up the status quo. But her plans rattled the markets and divided her own party, triggering economic chaos and political collapse within weeks. After just 49 days in office, she resigned, the shortest-serving Prime Minister in British history. Rishi Sunak. Sunak entered Downing Street promising stability after one of the most turbulent years in British politics. The first British Asian Prime Minister, he brought calm and competence after chaos, steering Britain through inflation, strikes, and global uncertainty. But his careful style and cautious reforms failed to rekindle public enthusiasm. After the Conservatives' 2024 election defeat, he resigned, leaving behind a legacy of order without renewal. Keir Starmer. Starmer became Prime Minister after Labour's landslide victory in 2024, promising stability and national renewal. A former prosecutor turned politician, he built his reputation on discipline and quiet competence, rather than charisma. His government has focused on restoring public services, strengthening the economy, and repairing Britain's global standing. Yet despite these efforts, he is officially the most unpopular Prime Minister in modern history, according to polls, struggling to inspire. From Walpole to Starmer, 3 centuries of leadership, triumphs, trials, and turning points that shaped Britain. If you enjoyed this journey through history, give the video a like, subscribe if you're new, and share it with a fellow politics enthusiast who'd love a walk through